now we have an interesting twist on the romantic season that we're in. We have George and Shirley Roberts.
And George and Shirley have been married 63 years. 63, that many years. Kind of amazing. Well, and of course we have another couple, a young couple, Alex Schollard Danino, and he's engaged to Miss Melanie LaFonara.
And they are going to be married in June. So this is going to be an interesting conversation between experience and hope. And I hope we don't make a difference in the engagement.
We're hoping that they leave the studio still engaged.
That's the hope for this particular program. I hope we don't screw that up.
Thank you.
We hope so too.
George, tell me a little bit about your experience when you first got married, how you guys met, and what it was like back when you got engaged.
So George, when you first met Shirley, how did it happen that the two of you came to know one another?
It just so happened that I was a member of the West Virginia National Guard, and our meeting night was in Welch, West Virginia, and it was on the second floor of a building, and to get in that building we had to go up a flight of stairs to a platform and into the building. Within arm's reach from that platform was another building and a window, and there were two gorgeous young ladies eating a sandwich. And it was during the summer, and the window was open, and I said I would be ashamed of myself if I were you two young ladies eating, and here I am starving to death.
Now that's a line. That's a real good line.
Did the line work?
And she gave me a sandwich, and she hasn't been able to fill me up since.
Oh my goodness. And then Melanie and Alex, share with us how the two of you met.
Ours is maybe a little bit less romantic. We both work at Master Chong's Taekwondo centers, and a few years ago in summer camp, I just kind of started flirting, and the funny part was that she was completely oblivious to the whole thing. And to this day, other instructors and students are still baffled that she decided to start dating me and even go beyond that, say yes when I asked her to marry me. So it's a fun story that.
And then, George, how did you ask Shirley to marry you?
I had a date with her, and her brother and his wife was sent by her mother to accompany Cheryl and myself to the movie.
So you had a chaperone.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They didn't trust you.
Well, after the great sandwich incident.
During the movie, I asked her to marry me, and I told her all of my discretions before then. And I said, if you say yes, that's the end of these things. I don't want it coming up in the future. So think carefully. She didn't answer me.
No immediate vote of confidence.
Later I learned that her sister-in-law overheard all of my discretions and told her that she better not marry me. But she agreed. And we set a date.
And they said it would never last, right?
And her father married us, and he did an excellent job.
Now, the all-important question, do you remember what the movie was?
Have no idea. I was not interested in the movie.
Shirley, do you remember what the movie was?
No, I was just happy to get out of the house.
Okay.
So Melanie, Alex, how did you handle your proposal, the young couple?
Ours took a little bit more planning. I did the right thing at least and sat down with her dad beforehand and asked her dad and got some advice and a couple of stern warnings from him. But the grand scheme of things was we went on a vacation to Disney World, which both of us are big Disney fanatics, and we have a small history of fireworks in our past.
Fireworks between the two of you, or fireworks that you like to watch?
That we like to watch.
Oh.
That we like to watch. So that's, July 4th is always like a big date for us. Go out, watch fireworks, things like that. So I waited until the fireworks were going off above Cinderella's castle, and that's when I decided to get down on my knee and not even ask really, because I had something in my eye. So
Was it a tear?
no. It was not. It was not a tear. So I just kind of like sat there and held the ring for a second, and she looks at me and she goes, "Are you sure?" And that was kind of how it all started. That's kind of how it all started.
Well, those are two very romantic stories. And so, a movie that leads to 63 years, and a Disney trip that leads to a spring wedding.
Spring wedding.
Well,
Now, Melanie, you're going through a whirlwind right now, getting prepared for a wedding. What's going through your mind, not only for the wedding, but beyond? In the next couple of years, what are your expectations?
Well, obviously right now all the planning, like you mentioned, kind of a whirlwind. And then from there, living situation, houses, stable jobs, careers, that kind of thing. And then from there, the pressure of starting a family, having kids, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things right now that are kind of in my head and making it a whirlwind.
so Shirley and George, Melanie has a whirlwind right now in her world with her pending nuptials. How did you, as a young couple 63 years ago, approach those days or those weeks before you said "I do"?
I better let her answer that.
Well, there was no whirlwind. My mother took over, as she generally did, and his older sister took over, as she generally does, and we just were attendees.
You made sure to show up and say "I do."
Yeah.
And after, George and Shirley, after you were married, where did you live?
Our first residence was in Wilmington, Delaware. Her older brother was a production director for WBBZ-TV, and we went there on our honeymoon, and I got a job with E.I. DuPont.
So you moved where there was work and you honeymooned where you were gonna live.
It was a working honeymoon, and we found our own apartment, and I worked for E.I. DuPont, and she went to work for a book publishing company.
Well, I think we're about to have a commercial break.
When we come back, we're going to talk about expectations, and we're going to talk about reality.
So when we come back, hopefully, George and Shirley, you're going to be able to give some wonderful, wonderful advice to our young couple, Alex and Mel.
We'll be right back.
Love and marriage go together like a horse and carriage.